Do or die
Right.
mission tonight, guys. Do or die.
Okay. The guy
Well,
from Totley, I've just realised the one thing I forgot to mention is that we do record the session.
Okay.
Are you all okay with that?
Yeah, if
Yes,
the money's right,
yeah,
yeah,
but-
fine.
Yeah, fine.
That's
Don't
fine.
mind your language.
Well, look north tonight.
What's that?
As long as we mention Leeds every 3 seconds.
No, sorry, John.
Dirty Leeds.
Dirty
Leeds.
Leeds. Please. Let's give them
Yes,
the
so-
correct title, please.
So, John, have you anything to say about any of the group? Any?
Only a couple of things. I mean, you just mentioned Jenny, my partner, who's tested positive for COVID, and the last few days she's been fatigued, exhausted, limbs and joints aching, which has really delayed her making my dinner and my tea. It's
No
been
thought.
shocking.
No thought.
Shocking side effects for me, I'm telling you. This COVID's rubbish. And Glenn had to go to A&E yesterday because his oxygen levels had gone down to 88. I think they should be around 100, shouldn't they, thereabouts? They'd gone down to about 88, and he was in A&E for 7 hours yesterday,
Oh,
which ain't good when you feel
I think his wife said that they needed to be over 90, didn't she? Or 95, something like that.
something like that. Certainly over 90, and 95 starts to be reasonable. Then
Yeah.
upper 90s is okay.
okay.
I've got one of those devices, an oximeter, where you, like you use in hospital, where you can test your own oxygen levels, and that's pretty good. Mine's been around 97, 98 this last few
Right.
days. So
Okay.
you can get them from Amazon. You can pay up to £4,000, but you can get one for about a tenner as well.
If you have
Anyway.
one of them, if you have one of them sherbet dabs before you test it, it goes higher.
Yeah, so that's it, Keith. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So, James,
I met I met Vinny on Friday.
okay.
I was coming out of Bayton for my injection. Vinny was going in, and he managed to slap me on the arm right on the injection site, but he's fine. And I also met Mick the Bulgarian yesterday
Yeah.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Crystal Peaks. And he seems to be okay as well.
Yeah.
He is, but it were a nightmare yesterday because he'd done that quiz, and for his answers about which 3 Bobbies got the Footballer of the Year in consecutive seasons in the 60s, his original answer was Bobby Moore, Martin Peters and Jeff Hurst as the 3 Bobbies.
Well,
And I knew that Bobby
He got-
Charlton and Bobby Moore had, but I couldn't remember the 3rd Bobby. And I texted him and I said, "Oh, your 3 Bobbies, they can't be Peters, Moore and Hurst, Mick. What about Bobby Robson? I wasn't sure." And then I looked it up and I found out it was Bobby Collins. And I had a weird dialogue with him. I never said it was Bobby Robson. Yeah, but you did say it was Martin Peters. Yeah, well, what's wrong with that? Well, he's not a Bobby in him. Anyway.
he also told me that when he was typing out yesterday's quiz, he got to question 17 and pressed delete. So he had to type the whole thing out
Deleted them
again.
all. He deleted them all.
Oh,
Oh dear.
He's doing a pop quiz. on
feelings.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
Sheffield United's Dave Powell became a Bobby.
Ah,
Yeah,
Remember that? Joined the police force when he left United football.
Yeah.
yeah, so did
Peter
Mr. Thrush.
Springett.
So did Peter Springer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter Springett, whose main patch for Bramall Lane on match days, weren't he?
Yes.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, and his
Right.
daughter worked at the club. Yeah,
His daughter Karen worked at the club.
yeah,
Yeah.
lovely,
Yeah.
lovely lass.
Lovely girl. Yeah.
So we'll move swiftly on to Lowell's News of the Week. News of the week. News of the week.
Not a lot today, folks, but some little snippets. We'll start with Formula One. Now, Fernando Alonso has paid tribute to former Spanish Formula One driver Adrian Campos who has died aged 60. Campos competed in 17 Grand Prix for Minardi in 1987 to 88. He had since run teams in the junior categories and played a formulative role in the career of his compatriot Alonso. Twice Formula One world champion Alonso won the Euro Open by Nissan Series with Campos Racing in 1999 before becoming a Formula One driver. Now a little bit on tennis. Now, up to 30,000 fans a day will be allowed to attend the Australian Open, Victoria's Minister for Sport has announced. A daily crowd capacity of 30,000 will be permitted for the first 8 days of the tournament, split equally between the day and the night sessions. It will then be reduced to 25,000 from the quarterfinals onwards, half the average attendance of previous years. The Open starts next Monday, the 8th of February, and finishes on the 21st of Feb in Melbourne. A little bit of athletics. Now, Dina Asher-Smith made an impressive return to competition as she equalled her personal best in winning the women's 60 metres at the World Indoor Tour in Germany last Friday. It was the 25-year-old's first taste of international competition since she won the World 200 metres title in Doha in October 2019. After cruising through her semi-final in 7.11 seconds in her first indoor race for 3 years, she won the final in a world-leading 7.08 seconds. At the same meeting, Great Britain's Elliot Giles won the men's 800 metres in a world-leading 1 minute 45.5 seconds. Anybody watch the athletics?
Yeah,
Some good racing.
Nice.
yeah.
Realise it
Incidentally,
was on.
lol, that's
Yeah.
not the British record.
It's a world leading for this
It's a
season.
world lead this season.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There was one of the other English girls running who's still holds the British record of 7.0.
Was it Philip or someone? Philip, I
Yeah,
got a name now.
yeah.
I just wonder about
Asher
how much
Phillip.
training goes into something that's all over in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I've had that
I-
experience.
Yeah, I think a few of us have had that experience.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, speaks the 12-second man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a shame Ian's not here for the next item. It's about rugby union. The
Aye.
Premiership leaders, Bristol, scored 7 tries as they hammered Bath at Ashton Gate to set a new record victory in this long-standing derby fixture. The game was decided in the first half as the home side scored 5 tries, while Bath lost 3 players to injury and 1 to a yellow card. Leading 34-3 at half-time, Bristol went on to complete a crushing defeat by 48-3 with 2 more tries in the second half against their opponents. In rugby league, Leeds Rhinos have extended the shutdown of their training ground after 4 more positive COVID cases at the club. The Rhinos closed their Kirkstall Road training ground nearly 2 weeks ago after 6 players and a staff member contacted the virus. They hope it could open again sometime this week. Huddersfield Giants were also forced to close their training facility about the same time as Leeds Rhinos. Now a little bit on cycling. One of London's biggest cycling events has been cancelled for a second year due to the pandemic. The Ride London 100-mile sportive, which attracts thousands of cyclists, was scheduled for May, but will now take place virtually. Event organisers said extensive road closures and participant and spectator numbers influenced the move. The Mayor's office said it was disappointed, but added that it was the right, responsible thing to do. Have you been in that competition, Paul?
Yeah, I've not
Okay.
raced it myself. My son's done it. I'm due to do it because it would fill. There's a series that you can do where you get a super sort of medal if you've done the London Marathon and also the Serpentine 2-mile swim and the 100-mile bike ride. And there's a special award for doing that. There's not that many people have done it. I've done 2 out of the 3, and the cycling one's the one I've not done. But it's usually in August. It's usually when we're away. So it's on my bucket list, yeah.
Just to explain for the guys from Totley, Paul there is our normal nutcase. Marathons, triathlons, Ironman. He's all this on 2 new hips as well. So
I couldn't do it without my new hips.
yeah, it's amazing.
They're bionic.
Yeah,
It's bionic, yes.
no, maniac.
Go on, Lol. Sorry.
Yeah, carry on then. Right, go on a bit of snooker. Now, John Higgins had to withdraw from the German Masters last week after testing positive for coronavirus. The 4 times world champion had been scheduled to start his campaign last Wednesday against Stuart Carrington, who then received a bye. All the other competitors at the 32-man tournament staged in Milton Keynes because of the pandemic returned negative tests. At the semi-final stage, Trump fought back from 5-1 down to beat Barry Hawkins 6-5. This included 3 successive century breaks as he won 4 consecutive frames to force a decider. In the other semi-final, Jack Lisowski beat Tom Ford 6-2. The event was won by Trump, who thrashed Lisowski 9-2 in the final to win his 4th ranking event of the season and the 21st of his career. He also took top prize of £80,000 at an event he also won last year in Berlin. Anybody watch the snooker?
No.
No.
There's some great snooker played.
Yeah.
This is Chris's sport, darts. 150 to 1 outsider, 46-year-old Welshman Johnny Clayton won his first individual televised PDC title as he beat Mervyn King in the Masters final 11-8 at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. He came through 4 successive last leg deciders, one of them against Michael van Gerwen in reaching the final. The victory also gives Clayton the 10th and the final place in the 2021 Premier League darts event, as well as a top prize of £60,000 for winning the Masters. Clayton, who works for Carmarthenshire County Council, is now considering quitting his job as a council plasterer to concentrate on making his living playing darts, a game he previously described as being his hobby.
Yeah.
Did you watch it, Chris? Did you
Sorry?
watch it, Chris?
Jabs, you know, I mean, get people lined up with their shoulders bare. And just throw them.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Could have been worse, Chris, as well. It could have been women's darts.
I'm only going to comment on sport. Okay.
We might get you like it one day, Chris.
What are we talking about now?
What's that? What you got?
We're going to football now, I think.
Yeah.
Going up onto football. Now, last Saturday was the first time since last March that 3 Premiership games have kicked off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon.
Bloody hell.
That's a strange stat, isn't it? Now, it's been under discussion now for a while, and last Thursday it was confirmed that the Premier League will introduce permanent concussion substitutes from next Saturday, the 6th of February. Teams participating in the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Women's Super League and the Women's Championship will be able to permanently substitute players who are diagnosed with or suspected of sustaining a concussion during a match. Both sides in each game will have 2 such replacements available, as well as their 3 regular subs.
Is that in addition to the normal substitutes?
Yes.
Lol, is that in addition to
Yeah.
the normal substitutes?
That's right. You've got your 3 normals. And
Yeah,
if you've used those up, you can have
yeah.
another one
Mm.
or 2 if you get somebody with a head injury.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the opposite
Right,
team, if they
thanks.
choose, can replace one of their players again if they've used all their subs.
We'll be the first team to feign concussion to get
Oh,
a
just-
Yeah.
sub on.
Yeah.
Just wide open for cheating. Wide
Well,
open.
uh,
Wide open.
hang on. I think you might find that if someone is replaced due to the concussion rule, that they will not be able to play in the following week's game.
Mm,
Very
yeah,
likely, yeah.
Don't they make that a law? Yeah.
yeah.
So
Avoid- avoid
I think it's not quite as straightforward as it was when they brought in. Does anybody remember when they brought in the subs rule? It all those years.
It was for injury only,
It
wasn't
was
it?
for injury only, so there were a lot of players who got injured,
No.
and it wasn't too long before they realised it was unworkable. But I do think with the with concussion subs, because it will mean that that player won't be able to play for some time afterwards. I don't think they'll be feigning it.
Mm. Mm.
That's my
Hope you're right.
Yeah, but I think you're wrong.
I don't think we can.
Somebody will take advantage of
That
that.
would make it work better.
Could
Well,
be a way of
football-
United getting rid of Pogba, couldn't it? You know, tell him he's got to come off because he headed the ball wrong. He's got to not play for the next 3 weeks.
The football's lawmakers have approved the new system on an initial trial basis, with next Saturday's lunchtime game between Aston Villa and Everton being the first Premier League fixture under the new regulations. Now, AFC Wimbledon manager Glyn Hodges has left the struggling League One side by mutual consent. The 57-year-old's tenure at the club came to an end after a 2-0 home defeat by MK Dons left them in the relegation zone. Hodges started his playing career with Wimbledon and made more than 200 league appearances for them between 1980 and 1987. Part of his career was spent at Bramall Lane between 1991 and 96, when he scored he made 147 league appearances, scoring 19 goals. After his footballing finished, he returned to Wimbledon in 2018 as assistant manager to Wally Downs, and then took over as a caretaker basis in September 2019 before being made manager the following month. Now, I've mentioned that he played for the Blades for 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, he was signed by Dave Bassett for £410,000. But what was unusual about how the transfer was paid?
The supporters raised most of it
That's
themselves
correct. And how?
through. Was it a draw, lol? Was it like a sweepstake or a?
Yes, it was a Grand National Sweepstake ticket.
We shall have to do that again in order to buy anybody else.
Brothers will get
You're
a
never down
racehorse.
to your last groat, are you?
Last shekel.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose.
Right.
Fine.
Now, a little bit on
Can I ring you
National
back in a
League.
bit? I mean, in a meeting at
now,
moment.
the National League
Back in a bit.
wrote to all 66 clubs in its 3 divisions yesterday to ask if they want to end the season. It follows the announcement that £11 million in government aid to ease the financial burden of the pandemic would come in the form of loans rather than grants. Each of the 3 divisions, which is the National League North, National League South, will take separate votes over whether to play on. members have up to 28 days to submit their vote. Chesterfield have already put some players on furlough on full salary before the voting. It is believed the Spireites will vote to continue the league programme, but furloughed out of favour players who do not figure in the manager's plans. Do you know much about that, Keith? Or
No.
no? Knowing, right.
Just have heard of it.
And I can only say there's a very strong desire to continue at Chesterfield. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But it's
Did you know
difficult.
about this through Will at all, Chris?
Not what you've just said. No. I only talk to him about results, on the field, because I don't think it's fair to ask him other things really. But I will find out a bit more, and if I find anything else, I shall let you all know.
Right. Okay, talk about last week's football. The performance of the week was the Blades' victory away to Manchester United at Old Trafford by 2-1. Anyway, now I've got some stats about that game. United are the first Yorkshire team ever to win at Old Trafford in a league match in the Premier League era. Aged 38 years, 163 days, Phil Jagielka was the oldest outfield player to start a Premier League game at Old Trafford in 20 years. Harry Maguire's equaliser was his first ever Premier League goal at Old Trafford. All his other goals have come away from home, which totaled 5. Now, since the start of last season, no Premier League side has conceded more league goals from corners than Manchester United, the total being 14. Now, I mentioned that we're the only team to win in the Premier League era in a league game, but 2 other Yorkshire teams have won at Old Trafford in other competitions. Does anybody know who they were?
Yeah,
Or what
Leeds.
competition?
Dirty Leeds is one of them.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
What
FA Cup.
Wednesday won 7 something.
I think he's talking about the modern era, Ron, aren't you? Premiership era.
Yeah.
the Premiership.
Good try though,
The
Ron.
Premiership.
Yeah.
No, Dirty Leeds won in the FA Cup.
That's it, January 2010. Now, which other Yorkshire team have won there?
Oh, York.
It was York.
Yes.
And that was in the League Cup in September 1996.
Yeah.
Well, good answer, Colin.
Yeah, I remember reading about it. It come to me about a week ago. I was reading that actually.
Now, last Wednesday, last weekend, can't read my own writing, the Blades produced another decent performance as they were beaten 1-0 at the Etihad by a pre-scoring Manchester City team. In fact, had John Fleck's great effort near the end of the match been a bit more accurate, United could possibly have come away with a deserved draw for their efforts. Yeah. So let's hope they can keep that going for tonight. Finally, we'll talk about Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Sheffield Wednesday won a 4th consecutive home game as they beat Preston 1-0. Liam Palmer's first goal since 2011 settled the match in the Owls' favour. Now, I'll talk a little bit about Liam Palmer. In his early stage of career at Wednesday, they let him go on loan for a year. Can you remember where he went to on loan? Anybody?
Doncaster.
No, he was out of Yorkshire, away from Yorkshire.
No. No.
No guesses? Tranmere Rovers. And finally, talking about Liam Palmer, a newspaper article in the Liverpool Echo in 2019 claimed that Liam Palmer was the son of former Wednesday player Carlton Palmer. Liam set the record straight when he said his dad is actually called Terry and is a painter and decorator by trade.
Yeah.
Anyway, there ended the news for today.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Who didn't mind too much the lads from Tottley?
Did anybody see the YouTube video of Carlton Palmer He did an interview at Chesterfield's ground with the next Wednesday manager, and he was talking about an offer he made to the Sheffield Wednesday chairman. If he gave him the same amount of money in the manager's job at Wednesday, he'd run it for 2 years, and if he didn't get them promotion, he'd give them the money back.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, heard that, Phil.
Yeah. But
That's a bad offer.
no,
They might as well take the offer because they're not going to get anybody else. Nobody wants the job.
No.
some
That's why
Somebody always
that's
takes
why
it.
they haven't filled it. Nobody wants it.
Yeah, it was a great transfer window as well, wasn't it?
Dave the Beard.
Well,
Just going back,
I
Lawrence, to
reckon
the United Man City game, we managed to equal another record. That's 9 consecutive visits to a away ground without scoring a goal. I think we've tied now with Stoke at Liverpool, and that's in the Premier League.
Okay.
Wow.
Not,
Oh.
not necessarily a record you want.
No.
No,
We're making plenty of other records this season.
There'll
Yeah,
be
thanks for
plenty,
that, Dave. Anyway, at least it gives a bit of balance for us Wednesdayites. Yeah.
there'll be plenty more records coming our way. Don't worry about that.
Right. Okay, as you know, Lol's just mentioned United's fantastic win at Old Trafford, or should I say unexpected win at Old Trafford. And that got me to thinking about shocks in sport. So I know that I've asked one or two of the guys if they can come up with items, such as for instance, one of my thoughts was Hereford beating Newcastle United 2 fatal. When does anybody remember who scored the goal?
Ronnie Ratford.
Ronnie
Radford.
About 30 yard out.
Yes.
Ricky George got the winner,
Ricky
didn't he?
George.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ricky George.
And who was Hereford's manager that day?
The great Colin Addison.
Colin Addison, yes.
Good player.
Yeah.
What a player.
No, he was an ex-United player.
I saw him make his debut, Colin Addison. He played at West Ham away on his debut.
Yeah.
Fine player. Fine player.
Good player,
He
yeah.
was there.
Still commentating on football in Wales from his roots there.
Is he?
He's still involved. Yeah.
So one of the people I asked to come up with some sporting shocks is Paul the Biscuit. So we've only 3 minutes left of this session, Paul. So have you got one or two that you can mention?
Well, I think you'd have to consider the Leicester City one.
Yeah.
Because it was sustained over such a long period, to do it over a full season.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware, if you'd have put £1 on, right at the start of 2016, if you'd put £1 on Leicester winning the league, Britain voting to leave the EU, and Donald Trump to be elected as president, do you know how much you'd have won?
5 million, I should think.
63 million.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Leicester were at 5,000 to 1 and they were the first ones. So you'd have been putting 5,000 on the next. I'm not into betting at all, but I just thought that was an amazing statistic.
I was just going to ask, when do you go on your cruise?
What were you into here?
There's one or two football ones like.
Through the back door.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go on.
Denmark winning the Euros.
Oh,
when
yeah,
they got
yeah.
qualified, they didn't
Yeah.
even know till the week
Denmark,
before
yeah.
that they were going to play.
Yeah.
But there's one probably that I'll mention just before the break. I've got one or two for afterwards if you want them, because
Yeah.
the guy's name who sort of carried out the upset was called John Fleck. Yeah. Now, in 1955, John Fleck won the US Open. He'd only become a professional 6 months before. He turned professional at the age of 33, and he beat Ben Hogan. Says nobody paid any attention to him after the first round because he was 9 strokes down. But he then came back, played some excellent golf, but Ben Hogan put it out on the 72nd hole, and the television company who were covering it, Gene Sarazen was the commentator, and he congratulated him on winning, and the broadcast went off air proclaiming that Hogan was the champion. Well, this bloke came back, he had a 50-foot putt to win it, blipped out, but it took it to a playoff, and they had an 18-hole playoff the following day, and he won it.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible victory. The bloke never won another tournament in his life. Ben Hogan had won 5 majors, but never won a tournament after that.
It's a bit like Wednesday and Ward of the Monster Trucks, that, isn't it? He wins it, and then television coverage goes off.
That's
and
right.
it doesn't show him.
Yeah.
Right, chaps, we've less than a minute to go, so I'm going to end this session. Get yourself a drink, and I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay?
Okey-doke.
Okay.
Right.
Right.